I woke up feeling like I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? Working again on this. This is going to be the strap for my new purse. It's still in the process of being felted. I ironed it today. Make sure we're working on the right shape and size. This is the area that's going to be resting on my shoulder. So I want to make sure that it's nice and cozy as well as strong. Now I am going to be coming back in with the more serious needles. We're just getting this tacked down so everything knows its place. At least in this case, we don't have to worry about the colors coming through because it all matches. Okay, that is going to be attached to the side. Like that. So let's strengthen this area. Right here. You've gone astray, little sheep. Come back. Now the bottom of this is pretty fully felted, but the whole of this is going to be felted to the purse, so I'm adding a little bit of wool everywhere. It looked a little weak. Okay. Oh, yeah. What am I doing? We need to thicken this up. We've got it tacked down. We need to use a different needle. Dangerous. Let's try it. Actually, we need to kind of tack it down because it wants to rise. Is it doing anything or just making it fluffier? Yep. Hello, darling. How are you doing today? I'm holding very sharp needles, so forgive me if I don't try and look at you through the lens. But I'm looking at the chat here, so I can see when you write. The scarf has not been started yet. I want to master some techniques, but I finished the orange flower. Did you see that? And now I'm working on my second purse. And this is the strap for it. Please don't, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm very happy with the way I'm learning. But you see, one of the wools that I sent away for the scarf, the blue silk scarf, did not turn out to be wool. It's synthetic, and I have to get my money back on that. But I still have to buy the right color wool. And I haven't made a purchase yet because I kind of overspent on clothes last month, and I'm trying to be more conservative this month. But I am going to have to put an order in anyway. Thank you. I think that it helps if you do something. You know, you feel more confident after you've studied it for a while, right? So even though I never did it before, I watched so many videos, I could practically feel myself doing it because I really wanted to do it, the wet felting. And so as soon as I started, it felt familiar already because I rehearsed it in my mind so much. It's like, I think I know what that feels like. I think I can try that. And bam. So, like, I took that workshop to make a calla lily, right? And very simple. But I wanted to go to see what techniques I still needed to learn about because, you know, you don't get everything from the videos. And I want the chance to question a professional teacher in the art. And it turns out she's getting her degree in it. There is a certificate. Um, it's a lot of hours and a lot of making things. And she already had like a whole library shelf full of just showing us what she made for her degree. And she's halfway through, and she has wonderful animals and little beings and wizards and stuff like that. So good. Oh, good. I actually liked working, but I liked working because I took the work seriously in terms of doing a good job, but I didn't take it seriously like it was the end of the world if I changed jobs, you know? I like trying different things, and I got to try a bunch of different things when I was a musician because I wasn't working. I mean, I worked myself 9 to 5 and longer, doing all the background work for writing songs and practicing and booking the show and doing the show and mailing lists and everything connected with that. But you don't do that all year. You know, if you're in a winter area, you don't have work year round unless you can travel, and I hated traveling. So I took jobs locally, you know, like part-time jobs or full-time that were temporary jobs. Um, and I got to do lots of different weird things in factories, and I liked it, you know. It was just, yeah, it's, look, I had a factory job one winter making plastic beads, the sparkly beads and the plastic jewelry, blanks before they have images put on them, bangle bracelets, and all kinds of stuff like that. I made mood ring cabochons, the transparent thing that went over the little bit of film. Those were a terrible, terrible thing to do. I will tell you, that was one of the worst projects in the whole factory. But because they were so easily destroyed while you were trying to make them. Exactly, exactly. I loved factory jobs just for that because on my own time I was very creative, always writing music and doing things to do with music. Also, I painted and I did egg work. So I did other stuff besides the music, but music was number one. You could do a job, you clock in, you clock out, and then it's their trouble what happens next shift. You know, it's like you do the best you can, you do a good job because you take personal pride in, and that's just a personal thing, you know, good work ethic. But when you go home, it's all your time. I don't have to worry about how the factory is going, right? Or who's buying the stuff. That's their problem. And it was really a nice rest for my brain to work for other people like that because, well, you know, when you're your own employer, you're always working. You're never really take off because even when you're resting, you're working in your head. You're doing things for your business, for your career. You know, it's like playing chess and you got to be 12 steps ahead. So yeah, working for something else, clock in, clock out, go home. Yeah, it's a relief. And like I said, you know, there were good things about it that were not immediately noticeable. I worked with a lot of mechanical things, machines, and I got to see how things were made. And when you see how things are made and you actually have hands-on experience, the next time you see something that's mass manufactured, you're not so intimidated by it. You look for where you can take it apart. You can look and see, ah, I know how this was built. I've done that. And it's cool. Yes, exactly. I couldn't do that. I don't want that. And you see, like, I recognize both you and with Charlie, you're both very creative, and you can be creative and also do careers like what your father has, but you're obviously going to be limited in the same way your father has. You have to have a passion for what you do. And if your passion is not medicine, you shouldn't be in medicine. It means that you are being drawn to do something else. And until you find what that passion is, just screw around and try different things. There is nothing wrong with sampling what the world has to offer without immediately tying yourself down like, and I'm going to work here for 20 years, even though I hate the job. I will do it because of my pension or my Social Security, or, well, just the security so I don't have to think for myself. It is easier to work for someone else than working for yourself. But you will never achieve the same level of satisfaction as when you are doing what your heart wants you to do. Charlie was passionate about law. Did 3 years in school and then realized, you know what, I really don't want this path. I'm not really sure what I want exactly, but you know, you don't have to have all the answers now. Sometimes you don't know because you haven't been exposed to the right thing yet. Like, who knew I would just fall in love with wet felting of all things? Do I want to make it into a business? No. If I was your age, maybe. If I was your age, well, I've always known I had to do things creatively. So this is a passion, but right now the passion is the idea that I can make things for me at last, because I've always done things for other people and for the joy of doing it. I've never had my arm twisted. I paint when I love to paint. I do what I love to do. And although that's not a way to secure an income, I don't see how anybody can have a secure income these days with the way things are changing so quickly. It seems like the best thing everybody can do is try to find what makes you happy and then see what that attracts. You'll always know what's right for the moment if you pay attention to how you're feeling. But that doesn't, just because it's right for the moment, it doesn't mean it's right for your whole life ahead. You're a young person. Well, okay, with that one I can say, because of my dear friend in Dublin who really wanted to be a pilot but didn't realize how much so until he was at the point where they don't want him. They won't take him in any area of the country's government or anything else because they feel he's too old to train. They have lots of young people who are trying to get into the academies and trying to learn how to be pilots. So if it's pilot you want to be, or you're contemplating it, I would go ahead and pursue it as much as possible. He spends many, many hours doing simulation flights, and even went and had went to a real place, you know, where you can have a simulated whole experience, except for not a lot of hydraulics involved because they reserve that for the real pilot trainees. But he was able to pay a pretty penny to have that experience. And he decided, yes, he would like to pursue it. But he was about 40 years old by the time he realized it, and they just do not want to invest all that money and time in a 40-year-old. When you're younger, they'll go, well, okay, he may end up being one of our employees or in our Air Force, you know. It's quite expensive, at least if you're an American, or actually even in Ireland, it's expensive to get to be a pilot. So all of that you need to investigate before you make up your mind. But if you have that on your mind at all, I would definitely investigate it while you're young. You may love it, you may go for it, you may say screw it. not what I was thinking. I have never had the desire to fly a plane. I have had the desire to have wings. I should say, I have felt like I've had wings. And I feel like I have flown. That's probably just some ancient memory of being connected with bird ancestry. Who knows? You too, sweetie. Have a wonderful week. I will be back tomorrow. Okay. Feeling nice and fuzzy. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Oh, my little hearts. There we go. Yeah, you definitely need more right there. This really needs to be filtered down. My water reminder. Lemony. Don't do that. think before I sew this on, or felt it onto the purse, I'm going to do one more round of wet felting. Make sure all of the new fiber is perfectly incorporated, and we have all the shrinkage we're going to have done. This is going to be all sewn up the side of the bag. I just want to make sure there's plenty there to work with. Difference between a good one and a cheaper version. This does thicken it up a bit. Hey. All right. This is actually beautifully felted, and I don't want to mess with it. I do want to get that attached. Let's do an experiment. It's sticking really well. What if we use a little more wool, but maybe at the end? Hello, Sancho. How you doing? I'm playing with needles, so I won't be doing much typing. No, email was widespread in the 90s before internet became more widely available. I was using the internet. Oh God, I got my first computer in 1986. So 1986 was when we started with email, but email was measured. You had 30 messages a month with a subscription. That was with a company called Earthlink back then, and Prodigy rather. Prodigy and, yeah, I think I was with Prodigy first. Yep, Prodigy was first one, I believe. They had bulletin boards. That's how we communicated back then. So you could connect, leave messages, but the live stuff did not come until 94. ICQ out of Israel, a real-time chat messenger thing. Then AOL took it, and then every business online that wanted to use a phone and do real-time interactions became involved. But yeah, Prodigy limited you to 30 emails, theoretically, one a day. My friend got the first sub, and she split with me. We each got 15 emails. So of course we emailed each other because we didn't know anybody else who was into the technology at the time. But that grew exponentially and fast, you know. I didn't have AOL, but I did have their freestanding messenger system when that became available. I had ICQ for work when I worked for a psychic network, and the boss had us all on ICQ, so we could communicate even when other things were having a problem. So that was pretty cool. But I really didn't like the system very much, and none of my family or friends had ICQ. It was just my work people. So I forget what. Oh yeah, that's when I got the AOL freestanding chat. But I never subscribed to AOL. My family did though. But most of my family was just above computer illiterate, so. Yeah, they were the original. A lot of very important tech has come out of Israel, which is why they've gotten so much money. Had nothing to do with religion or loyalties or anything like that. That was just the cover for the tech. They want Israel's technology. They invested a lot in their schools. We invested a lot in their schools because we want their technology. Just like America allowed Nazis into our country because they were good scientists and we were working on our rocket programs. There's nothing innocent that goes on like that. It's always some kind of conniving behind closed doors, usually the exchange of a lot of money and promises. The tech with ICQ is what is really being used right now with all the real-time stuff. Instant Messenger, the AIM Instant Messenger, the little golden man that annoyed everybody by popping up all the time. That's from the technology that created ICQ. Zoom. Well, Zoom, okay, took it differently. Leave Zoom out. Keen created a huge network of psychics in an attempt to develop a network that was real-time phone call consultation. Their idea originally was doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs, but that didn't work out. What it became famous for was the group that they hired on to make the quick bucks to expand the company, and that was Psychic Network. That made the money for Keen until Keen was so embarrassed because nobody wanted to work for Keen if they were professionals because it was associated with nothing but frauds and scammers and psychics. Card readers, the like. I worked there. I know. I was there at the beginning. So the people that were doing counseling by the minute, you know, they were like, yeah, you know what, this is probably not good for my reputation. So what they did was they created a separate platform. They renamed their company from Keen to Ingenio. Ingenio has a software that everyone is using for real-time phone connections. And Keen is now a subsidiary of AT&T. Oh, I didn't work with Miss Cleo. Miss Cleo, by the time I discovered I was working for her company, I don't think she was even there anymore. I don't know, because I never saw a commercial. I heard about it through the Psychic Network grapevine, because I was accidentally routed into her network to take calls. So that's how I learned about Miss Cleo. It's like, who the hell is Miss Cleo, and why are people calling my number for her? So yeah. And she's gone now. I mean, she passed away years ago. She was an LA actress who got hired to do a job. Pretend to be a card reader man from Jamaica. Although I don't know if she was actually clear on which island she was from. They just made her an islander, I think. Trying to get the gullible and the fearful. That's why I keep telling people, fear is a manipulation. Anybody that makes you afraid of anything is just trying to con you out of something. Okay, right now what I'm doing is tacking this into place. It will need a lot more done to it to make it secure enough to use. Most likely real sewing of the kind I don't like to do, but will, because because after all the hours invested in this bag, I am going to use it. Oh, you're loose there. Don't go anywhere yet. All right. Let's hope this is right. We're going to find out in just a minute when I try it on for size. Perfect. That's what I want. So what are you up to? Oh, I agree too. Social media has been extremely destructive to the world, to the children, to our political systems. What president runs a country by tweet? Children should not be witness to that. And all these influencers who are unhappy with their bodies, giving advice on how to get their lips poofed up and change their hair and wear the right makeup and jewelry and clothing. I mean, it's like, who has to even pay these people anymore? Used to be you had to advertise your product. Now you just get some young person to go gaga over it and let them do the selling for clicks for a fraction of what it would cost to use a real person, because these people are not real people. They're kids, inexperienced kids who just want attention and fast money. Yeah, it's a sick way to raise people. I just ate salad and almond milk, listening to some music now. Very nice. I had a more unusual lunch. I had a big bowl of butter beans. I love butter beans. And a chicken quarter, you know, leg, thigh. Yeah, I think tonight, I don't know what I'm going to have tonight. Something with more veg. I do have an avocado, that's right, but I had one yesterday and ate the whole thing. Thought that was a little heavy. good but heavy. Well, you know, I'm an old lady. In some ways I'm very open because I see how being so conservative has screwed people up. But I'm also conservative in a way, in that I'd like to conserve our resources, I'd like to conserve our sanity, I'd like to conserve some morals. It would not be a bad thing to teach people to be more introspective, to look up information instead of just assuming what they hear is correct or what they read on the internet. I mean, so many people can't even tell the difference between AI and real humans anymore, which of course the AI creators want. But that's not a healthy thing. Now, there's getting involved, spending your time on things that make you feel really good, which usually is involved with creating or helping others create. Then there's the just passive, just sit on the couch and watch the world go by. Those are the people who are most at risk for Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, because their brains are just kind of turning into pumpkins. Wool everywhere. I think a lot of the problems in the United States, I've seen a lot of it here online. Kids, and I've seen it in my family, kids allowed to drop out of high school at 16. They miss so much, not in terms of like what's going on in the world, but what went on in the world. They're not learning history or how things came to be, and they're not learning about our culture and how much we fought to have some. You know, they're not appreciating a lot of things because they missed the last couple of years of socialization, which is way more than important than memorizing dates of wars and battles and all that. That you can look up very easily if you need to know about a certain war or battle, but it's the other stuff, the social studies, basic science. I don't believe anybody who finished high school and studied basic science would be anti-vax, just because they do teach you about viruses in junior high school science, maybe 9th grade science, 8th, 9th grade. But I remember really getting into viruses. I was drawing them in my sleep. I was fascinated by them. And then I have people who used to come to the Twitch show to be proud that they dropped out of school in 8th grade. I quit school in 8th grade and I'm doing fine. I got a job, I got a house. It's like, yeah, you're living with your mother who's dependent on Social Security, and somehow you're still going to vote for the party that's undermining everything that you really want. It shouldn't be a sensitive subject at all. Education is something that is necessary for every civilization to grow and move forward. When we are uneducated, we become the slaves to everybody that's got money to make us work, which is what's going on now. That's why people need food stamps to survive, or 2 jobs, or 3 jobs, just to get by. That's not how it was when I was growing up. You could support a whole family of 4 on 1 income and be a homeowner. A lot has changed since then. People didn't get more lazy. People are working harder than ever. But wealth inequality, well, you know what? If people were smarter and better educated about money, we wouldn't have let this happen. We would have seen it coming instead of just walking like little zombies to the store every day. You know, the writing is on the wall and has been for a year now, as far as our food supply, just for one example. And yet I am having the hardest time convincing people to try new recipes with affordable natural products that are still around for them to stockpile. Now, it's true, my education was not average. I tried to be average, but I kept ending up in advanced classes, except for math. So I learned a lot more on average than somebody who went to a trade school and specialized in one thing. Is that a put down to trade schools? Not at all. If you know what you want to do, getting directed to that is great. But I look at my family, the youngins, who quit early, and they are not stupid people at all. They're talented, they're hardworking, and socially illiterate. I mean, they really don't know what's going on except right where they are, and that's a little scary. Life is a hot button. We're humans, we have to cope, right? We've found lots of different ways to try and cope, but everything's become a freaking hot topic because people can't cope anymore. They've been listening to so much misinformation and garbage. They're dropping out from the real world, which is not always the worst idea. What I'm saying is that the people are not educating themselves. We thought when the World Wide Web opened up and it was going to be free, it was going to basically glorify education. It was going to share knowledge globally. That was the big dream of the World Wide Web. To get smarter, to have the access at your fingertips to everything you want to know. And at first it seemed like that was going to be realized. You know, I was down on the farm. First thing I did was get internet because I had already fallen in love with computing years before I moved to the farm. The most important thing I had there, besides my husband and my dogs and cats, was my computer. But even back then I could look up different things agriculturally. We had access to the USDA, the data bank for the USDA. So I could look up all kinds of stuff about my plants, my herbs, making medicines out of my stuff, how to put food up. All of that was easily accessible. And then people started fucking around with it. You can't get into the USDA data bank now. But you know what? It also showed flaws in our systems very, very well. Like with the data bank, for example. Here I am, I'm dealing with the agricultural department. And I'm learning a lot. I also learned where misinformation was like printed and then everyone just copied and pasted that misinformation all over the world into their data banks. It's like, wait a second, because I identified a plant that was actually correctly identified in Australia for a little species that's also native to America, North America. And it's a really fascinating little plant. It's called bladderwort. I took lots of pictures of that because I used to see it all the time when on my dog walks and watched it doing its thing. It's a fascinating little plant. Adorable little teeny flower. It's amazing how it disappears and comes back with the first rain. I mean, it's an interesting little plant. But there was something wrong about one of the descriptions, and it was the habitat. Bladderwort lives in water. It is found in dry areas, but it can't be bladderwort because the bladders can't expand. So if it doesn't get watered, the bladders can't absorb any nutrients and the plant dies. But it lives in the water, and when the water dries up, it also kind of goes into hibernation. But it was described and repeatedly over that it was found in arid soils and something else. It was like completely wrong habitat. It's a water plant. And I said, I went all over the place looking like, well, where did this information come from? Who had it wrong? And then I found the one that had it right. Australia. Like, oh, you know exactly what this is. There's those pictures. They're just like mine. You know what it is. And their information made sense. But the thing that it pointed out, getting access to that data bank, was one department was literally in the same building as another. They were literally across the hallway from each other, and they weren't sharing data. They both affected each other. The FDA and the USDA, Department of Agriculture. And they're in the same hallway doing their own research and not sharing a drop of it. And that's when we started to see that, oh, look at that. Who else is getting information and is not sharing it? It turned out the FBI and the CIA weren't sharing any information. And by sharing information, you know, you can get to the root of things much faster. But everybody wants to play like spy versus spy. They want to be the first and the only with the information. And it's just really a big waste of resources. I mean, when you need to find out something about a plant, for example, you need to get all the information, and it needs to be correct. You don't want someone out there who's ignorant about the plants in the first place, just copying and pasting from anybody else who wrote about it. And the frustrating thing was I found the bladderwort in a wild plant book, a field guide, which didn't have the right information. But if it's in a field guide, as a field guide, telling you what something is, where to find it, and what you can do with it, why would that not be in the database? So when I was going to school, I was told and taught not to take the first answer, even if it came from a teacher. If I had doubts about it, I might have good reason to have doubts. I should look into it further. I think it all comes under, just because someone says it's true, don't make it so. And when I was growing up, you didn't take it for granted as much. You had to check it out yourself. Especially in the 60s, that was like, don't buy the bullshit. Look into it yourself. Investigate. Be bold. Be brave. Matter of fact, that was an infantry motto. The bold and brave. Their symbol was a dragon head shooting flames. And a friend of mine who served in Vietnam gave it to me. It was his division. All right, let's measure this again. Let's see how we're doing. It's not strong enough to use as a purse yet. I wouldn't put any weight in here. Well, that's comfortable. I like to have my purses, if they're over the arm, I like to have it where I can grab it and hold it in, like when you're going through the store. You don't want your stuff banging around, hitting things. And I think that will do. Now, I wasn't planning on doing a button or anything, but maybe I should consider that down here. Well, we'll see after I finish attaching this. Because right now, as it is, I could rip this off, and we don't want that to happen by accident, by me getting caught on something and taking a step. It's amazing how fast things can come apart. Hey, Gary, and thank you. I hope you have been enjoying your day off. Oops. I'll be taking a break from this shortly so I can make my dinner. I think I'm going to make some soup. Some ramen, maybe, with some shrimp thrown in. I haven't done a whole lot of seafood this week. Did you take care of the tax lady bullshit? All right. Victory. I thought you got scammed. He claims he didn't claim you. All right. So that's kind of weird. Great. Good day. Yeah, it's too bad that Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat went to another Republican, but it was a close race this time. This time it was clear. A lot more people have switched parties. They are no longer Republican. They voted Democrat. And that's a relief, considering what the jellyfish are doing to our country. I'm for sharing my comfy. All right. It's been, actually it was really windy earlier. I had to close the windows most of the way. In fact, the kitchen window I had to close altogether because it was a cold wind blowing. But I think it got up to 50 something today. Let me see. 48 degrees right now. That's not bad. It's breathable and sunny. And we're not expecting any rain until Friday. Nice. Of course, Friday is when I am planning on going out. Briefly. Yeah. Nice. That's beautiful. They're little tassels. They're tiny tassels. Not cute? And they're buried in the strap too. Looks kind of like flowers. This is to go with my pink dress. And I got my mint green dress today. Unfortunately, the yarn I got to make something for it was not real wool, and I can't use it. Now I'm felting this whole thing in, but I'm going to have to go back and use some embroidery thread inside to make sure that everything that's strength bearing or weight bearing will not just come apart on me. Did you see all the amazing yarns I got? Like this one? I showed you this one for sure because you see me working with it, and you saw the blue one, the blue and beige with the first purse. But did you see the 5 I just got in? With all the sparkly blue, and oh my god, they're so beautiful. One of them, actually a couple of them, it's like when I make the bag with the llama wool, first I need to buy a corresponding brown sheep's wool to mix with it because it won't felt well on its own. But I found 2 different yarns like this, They're not exactly like this, but the same principle of 5 to 9 strands of yarn in one. They're just magnificent. Oh, thank you. But they can't have it. I've already put so many hours in this. It's like, no, this is for me. I'm going to work this hard at something. I should wear it myself. And like I said, I'm not trying to make a business. If I was your age, I would probably make it a business, doing custom bags. And again, I don't like doing custom work. I used to do it with art. I really don't like it. I like to really just be my own free spirit self, and what I create, and if you like it, you can buy it, and if you don't like it, I don't care. Because I'll keep it forever, or give it away. I got really burnt out on trying to please everybody. And doing custom work, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's custom, you're going to have a whole lot of opinions. You know, like they don't give it to you before you do the job. You do the job and they go, well, that is what I wanted, but could you also do, it's like, I did the job, it's done, you paid for it. I'm not going back and redoing it. Especially, you know, at this age, I should be pleasing myself, and I am. I want to look nice every day. I want to feel good every day. Which means some of my effort has to be about me. Alright. We're getting there. It's a slow job. But I enjoy the process, so, you know. Oh yeah, there's always some of those. I mean, mind you, like the job I used to do a lot of custom work for were my eggs, because I did party favors, and if people wanted something special for their store, or a display, you know, I did that big display for Easter/spring for Mocha in LA, which was wonderful. I got well paid. I made hundreds of eggs for that display. But as much as I tried to explain to the people who wanted that display, they wanted me to make a matte egg display, no shine to them. And I said, that's impossible. The eggs themselves are going to make even my matte paints have a shine to them. It's just inevitable. It's an egg. It doesn't absorb the paint. It has to dry on the surface. So I made samples and I mailed them. I shipped them over to Museum of Contemporary Art, and they loved them. They said, yes, this. And so I invested quite a bit of money, because good paint costs money, and I airbrushed hundreds of these eggs. And yeah, some of them came out shinier than I wanted. So I ship them, and then they go, well, can you powder them or something and make them duller? It's like, no. If I put powder on them, they're going to look powdered. No, they're empty eggs. They're the egg shells. I didn't ship whole eggs. I bought the eggs whole and emptied them out, sterilized them, and then put things in them and turned them into party favors. Made a bunch for the Golden Nugget, gold eggs, in Las Vegas. Now that was something that was a bummer, because we were talking about it, negotiating or starting to negotiate a deal where I would supply a whole shitload of golden eggs to the Golden Nugget because they look like gold nuggets, and you could use them like fortune cookies in their Chinese restaurant. And we were talking about it for 6 months, and I'm like, okay, how many do you think you're going to use? Blah, blah, blah. I'll see what I could do. It got down to like, they wanted so many eggs, there was no way I could make them all by myself. So I started looking into having them made in China to assist me in my California little studio. Before I could get anywhere with that, it didn't matter because the purchasing people changed and they did not want eggs. So it's like, okay, 6 months of research and everything else for you guys, and you don't get a dime out of it. So that's just, you know, you win some and you lose some. Eggs were not a, except around Easter time, people don't really think of eggs as anything. So eggs get the biggest attention at breakfast and Easter. Unless you're an egg collector. I made some for collectors. One of my designs ended up in a catalog for egg collectors. One of Glenn's designs did too. Of course, I was pushing Glenn's work. Like always on the fringe. But I always loved working with eggs. And I would probably still be working on them. I have eggs to work on. I have them all stashed up there. I even have plastic cases for them. Oh, they were beautiful. They were called Wisecracks, and you could find them on Rodeo Drive. Yes, they were beautiful. I did 2 different sets, jewel tones, which were just absolutely gorgeous, and pastels, the pearls. Then we had a line of more designer eggs. We had some that looked like granite. And oh, one of my favorite were actually verdigris. They were copper eggs with green on it. They looked really cool. And every once in a while I come across one of my advertisements, not my like little promotional things that I had to print up for different shops. Whoever carried my eggs needed paperwork, you know, for the display. They were also popular in Ann Arbor, Michigan, for some reason. The college kids one year got into it. And I didn't have to do any display work with them at all, because they just like to open up the container and let them sit. But sometimes, you know, it's a matter of timing. Timing is everything. As things were doing really well, and I had 12 sales reps in LA that covered the whole country, we moved to the farm, and our troubles began. And I ended up having to just finish up my orders and close shop, because working in the South was another ball game. But, you know, you stop doing one thing, you do something else. It's constant learning, constant doing, constant seeking for new joy. And the next time I come across photos of my eggs, my displays, I'll try to remember to bring it out so you can see it. I'm pretty sure I kept a little bit of something everywhere, like my little flyers that went with the eggs. And we did country-ish things too, because we did street fairs. A lot of, well, every Friday we did a farmer's market in Monrovia, California. And I loved that. That was my favorite farmer's market. We would do like a bag of cow eggs. 3 eggs, 3 wisecracks that were painted black and white, spotted, you know, like cow eggs. Progress is being made. How long have I been on? I'll stay another 15 minutes. And then I'm gonna go and cook up dinner. I even have a dessert tonight. My friend made carrot cake. She saved a piece for me. Yeah, you are lucky, Gary, that you're in the peach state, because peaches are about to get scarce across the country. Canned peaches. So if you like canned fruit in the winter, be ready to put some up when you buy them fresh around your area this summer. Del Monte canceled a 20-year contract with a bunch of peach farmers who are now going to have to destroy their crops, which took 5 years to establish. Because, you know, when you plant fruit trees, they don't just start giving fruit. They're usually 3 to 5 years old before they start producing fruit. There's no instant food. I think that they should do something else with that. Bring in the public and get them on the farm. I think we should start buying shares of farms, like making them all into public farms for people to grow their own, because they don't have their own land. I mean, down south we did that all the time. The farm I lived on, I was in the lower 40, but the amount of property those people owned, well, they owned several hundred acres. And the Moore family across the road owned more hundreds of acres. A lot of land between, well, just one family, really. So people who did not have the ability to buy property, well, they would lease the fields for the year. They'd come in, they'd put in their cotton, they'd come in, they'd put in their corn, they'd come in and put in their hay, and pay $1 or something, because the people themselves were not going to farm it. It was just sitting fallow. So it was better to have it used than just laying there. And that way people were able to share food. When our sweet potatoes came in, it was acres worth of sweet potatoes. And we didn't have to do anything, personally. I mean, except for harvest a bushel for ourselves. The whole neighborhood was invited to come and dig up some of the potatoes. Have some potatoes. It's like wow. And the same people, they grew other things and they shared that. That is a community. I know. Hi, Jessica. I was thinking of you. Water day for you? What does that mean, sweetie? My snack before bed was a nutty bar. Yeah, I don't think the peaches are going to get destroyed in your state, but anybody who has a Del Monte contract is in trouble. How goes it, Jessica? I'm working on my second purse. I made something to go with my pink dress. And I'm attaching the strap now. Fits nicely under the arm, but it's not ready to carry weight. We have more to do. I was stabbing it with this deadly little device, and this one earlier, but now it's single needle work. Water drinking day. Oh, you ate garbage at bedtime, I see. Well, every day is water drinking day. If you want functioning kidneys. I'm glad you made it in here. And I took my sleep meds. I'm getting there. Oh yes, you want to be well rested and well hydrated. The place you work is illegally and immorally hot. I'm going to be leaving in just a few minutes. I've been on for a couple hours working on this, and it's time to address Din Din. But now that the weather is turning nicer, it's time to start turning attention to going outside in the air again. Also, my doctor gave me plenty of asthma inhalers. Thank God. I'm gonna go outside more. Good idea. I'd be surveying your property to see where you could stick some edible foods that other people might not recognize as food. Like lamb's quarters. People just think of that as a weed, but it's a really healthy vegetable. It's like spinach without the oxalic acid. I mean, it does have some, but it's not like spinach. It's better. And the seeds are edible. I really want to grow some around here, but I'm afraid the gardeners might remove it unless I can catch them in time. We have to. I do have a plot that I'll be planting, but I don't want to do it there because of the seeds. you know hostas are food? I did not know that until this year. And I don't know why, because, well, probably because it's not a wild plant. When I was studying herbology and all that stuff, foraging, it was all about wild things, and that's not usually found in the wild. All right, but how big is the spot? If you plant something like lamb's quarters, you won't have to worry about drought because it's very drought tolerant. You won't have to drag a hose out to it. And it grows all summer. You just pull leaves off as you need them and cook them, like spinach. Oh yeah, we gotta do that corner more. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, hostas, when they first start coming back, those young shoots are edible like asparagus. Google can identify and tell you all that. There's also a wonderful app that shows you the free food available on the street, where people use food for landscaping. And they're glad when you go and pick up the harvest, they don't have to clean it up. Like ginkgo nuts, they usually don't plant the females out there because they make these nuts and the skins on them while they're curing stinks. So they usually just plant the males, but occasionally, and before they knew that, they were, well, a lot of females out there and dropping these nuts that if you know what to do with them, it's a valuable food source. Like we have, it's like scouting out, like, what's in my town? What's in my town? One tree by the marina is a crab apple, which you can eat the fruit off. Like one crab apple? That's it? That's disappointing after living on a farm with all those wilderness areas around me. Even living one state over in Rhode Island, there was a piece of property that is now owned by Citizens Bank, unfortunately. But we used to be able to go there and get a lot of pin cherries, which are tart and delicious and very edible. But most people thought they were poisonous, so they ignored them. The deer loved them, and people I know loved them. I was really disappointed when I moved down to North Carolina. I really thought people who lived on the land for generations would know about the land. They would know what you eat, what you can't eat, how to prepare it. I assumed a lot, and it turned out my neighbors had been there for over 140 years at the time we moved there. I mean, they had a house that was over 143 years old. And they did not know shit about what was on the land. They were terrified of mushrooms, so didn't even look into them. And they had some very, very choice edibles like chanterelles growing, and some morels. Although the deer always beat us to the morels. Yep, it's starting to feel nice and thick. It's not secure enough yet. But now I really need to order that mint green, and I need some aquamarine that also did not come. I now have a reliable source for my wool online. I still have to order it, but it's at least they're dependable, and the price is definitely good. Gary, when you buy stuff on Temu, do you leave reviews? Oh my, I'm awake. Well, that's good. I was just talking to you. All right. We will continue this tomorrow. I will most likely be putting some embroidery thread through this to make sure that I don't have excess stress pulling on the felted, because if I pull this, I could pull the whole thing off. It would leave this very jagged looking, but I could remove it. I would rather just keep working it and make it part of the fabric. So we can see when we turn inside out, especially down here, you can see where the color is coming through from the top. And you can see where it's looking a little fuzzy where I've been poking it. But yeah, you can feel it really thickening up now, which is the ideal. Oh, well, you can go back. What I was going to say, that if you're dissatisfied with anything, even a little bit, I give very honest reviews. If I like it, I'm really clear on how much I like it, and they get a 5-star review. But if I have anything about it that is like, I'll do like 4-star. And I discovered that if you do anything less than a 5-star, they give you an opportunity to ask for a return. Like I went there today to catch up with some of the reviews, because there is something I want my money back for, and that's that mint green fake wool. It came under the guise of wool. All the rest of it that came with that order was wool. Last minute, they couldn't have that color, I guess, and they stuck in this synthetic crap that's useless to me. So I do want that back, but I haven't gotten to that one yet. And when I was going through the stuff, and one of them was this hat that I got. Now the hat needs a lot of work when you get it. It comes all crumpled up. But I like it enough to, I'm going to iron it, but it needs a strap. And the strap had these little plastic things, so the hat's reversible, so you can take the thing off and put it on the other side. Well, one side of it, the plastic hook was malformed. And I took it out and it's like, oh, it's malformed on both ends. There's nothing I can do with this. So if I sew it in, that means it's not going to be a reversible hat anymore. I have to wear it one way. So I said, I don't need a return. I just want you to send me the plastic so I can attach it to the hat. And instead I ended up getting a credit. So if you're not perfectly happy, then let them know that. They want your good reviews. And I won't give a dishonest review no matter how much money would be involved. It's just not me. Did you see my pig on the toilet? You got a pig on a toilet? No. Why did you get a pig on a toilet? Is it reading a newspaper? Agnes would have loved it. She had a vast pig collection. Okay, it is time to go and make food and be back tomorrow. I've got an appointment tomorrow here in the building. It's TBCCA time when we file for a rent rebate. And if we qualify and there's funds, we get a little check in November. Which is actually the money that I was from last year. That's what I was using buying stuff for felting and clothes. Thank you. I bought 2 more dresses last night. I'll tell you what, right now clothing is like a new addiction. So I have to stop. I have to cut myself off. It's ridiculous. I'm not gonna have a place to hang anything, okay? I only have a little closet. And my winter, summer, spring, and fall all fit in the closet. And you know, winter's bulky. It is. It's going to be fun. You'll see. Did you send me a picture? I'll bet it was you. Yes, you did. I'll look at it. Hold on. Oh. I like the thing next to it. Little teeny cat in a cup. Okay. Well, this is one of those times I have to say to each his own. I don't like toilets other than to use them, so I never think of them as decoration. But I guess in the bathroom it applies. So I did. Can you see what? My new dress? Hold on. My orders. Yeah, it's shipped, and I can't look at it because I got the last of one and it's not available anymore. But this one, I love that. And the other one, well, it's supposed to look like this. I don't know how much like this it's going to be. It's something along those lines. I don't think that's it, though. Because when I went to look for it, it had disappeared. It was like, I don't know. It might be. I'm trying to get different colors into my clothing because it's always, you know, like I said, it just got so dreary. All black and black and black on black. And I do love wearing black, and it's one of my favorite colors, but enough is enough. It's spring. I want to feel light, and, you know, I need to have color around me to help balance the darkness in our news. So I'm going for it. And I'm going to go for dinner now. You all have a great night. Thanks for coming.